folks, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will talk about what are access modifiers. So before jumping into access modifiers, let's take an example here. So let's go ahead and create a simple cat class. I have a cat class and each cat has a name and has an age or has a size. So let's say, so each class has a name. So to store that name, we'll have the string name. To store the age, I have the age and I have a cat with the size. So these are my variables, each instance variable, or basically these are to store the name of the cat, to store the age and the size of the cat. So now it also has a method called meow because cat does meow. So in this method, I'll display the name of the cat, the age of the cat, and the size of the cat. So I've just created a simple class. Now I'm going to go ahead and create some objects of this class. So to do that, I'll create another test class through which I'll create the objects of this class. And this class will have a main method. So let's say I'll create a simple object of this class and cat c1 is equals to new of cat. So I've created an object of this class and I'm setting the name of my cat is, let's say, Tina, and the age of my cat is, let's say, 7, and c1 dot of size is equals to 0. Can anyone prevent me to do that? No, I can set the size of my cat to 0. But do you think is it a good idea to set the cat size as 0? Have you seen a cat with the size of 0? No, I don't want to do that, somebody. But if I go up here and I call the meow method on it, it'll automatically will work and it will give me the output as name is 7. Tina, age is 7 and size is 0. So I'm not able to prevent this from happening. If somebody wants to go ahead and set the value, it'll be able to set the value like this. But I don't want someone to go ahead and set it. I don't want anyone to set the size of my cat to 0. So how we can prevent from doing that? So there is concept called as access modifiers. So I don't want anyone outside to access and set a wrong size of my cat. To do that, I wanted to prevent this value to be set. So to do that, we will make these variables as private. So meaning of the private variable is no one outside of the class will be able to set the value here. So these are called as the access modifiers. So in Java, we have 4 different access modifiers. Now we have 4 different access modifiers. One is called as public. The other one is called private. It's also called default, we have it, and the 4th one we have is called protected. So these are the 4 different access modifiers: public, private, default, and protected. Now public means anyone outside of the class will be able to go ahead and access it. Means it's available publicly. Everyone can use this public thing. Private means it's very limited access. Only the class in which it is declared, only that particular class can use it. No one outside of the class will be able to access private, and we'll talk about these 2 later. So in this case, I wanted to prevent anyone to set the size of my cat. I also don't want somebody to set the age of my cat also to -1. So if I want to do that, somebody will be able to set this value too. I don't want somebody to set the age of my cat to -1. So to prevent that, I wanted to go ahead and make this also as private. So now in this case, if I make these as private, now you're getting an error here because now you cannot set these values by yourself because you have made these private. So these age and size is not visible outside of this cat class. So how will I set it? How will I go ahead and set these values of age and size? To do that, you will need those getters and setters. What are the purpose of getters and setters? So we can go ahead here and we can say public void set the size of my cat, and you will, this is another, we have created a method and the age. Now here we are saying if the size of the cat, so this is for the size. If the size of my cat, the person who's trying to set is setting it to less than 0 or equals to 0, then he should get an error, and I will say, hey, this, don't set the wrong value for my cat. And also you can also set your own size. So I'll set the size of my cat to by default to 10. If someone is doing the right thing, if someone is setting anything besides that, I can go ahead and set that value in my size variable. So this is to set the size of my particular cat. So this is also called as a setter method. This is because you're setting the size. Similarly, I wanted to prevent somebody to set the wrong value for the age of my cat. So similarly, for just like here, I'll just go ahead and copy this code and write it here. And this is to set the age of my cat. And this is going to be, these are called as the local variables. This is the variable that is declared inside of a method, that is called as a local variable. This is called as an instance variable because a variable that is declared inside a class and outside of a method is called as instance variable. So here a is the local variable, and now I'm going to go ahead and see if the a that somebody is trying to set is less than or equals to 0. I'll say don't set the wrong age for my cat, and I will provide my own age, and then I'll say it's 14. This is by default the age, otherwise I will be able to set the value. So this is called as the setter method to set the age of my cat. So now if somebody wants to set, I will go ahead and do from c1.offset size, because you can't directly access it because the variables are private. So if I wanted to go ahead and set the size of my cat, I can go ahead and do it. If somebody tries to set a wrong value, let's say somebody's trying to put a value of 0, and let's say there is some c1.offset age, and if somebody's trying to put a wrong value for my age, I will be getting an error here. And also it will say, okay, I'll set a default value. So these instance variables, these are called as the access modifiers, because we don't want someone to set the wrong values, so we make these variables private. This is also called as a concept of encapsulation. So under the concept of encapsulation, they say that make your variables private and the methods public. So here these variables is private because we don't want anyone to set the wrong values, and we have created the public setter methods. These are the set size and the set age to set the values of these variables, and if somebody is trying to put a wrong value, I can set a default value for those variables, and also I won't even allow them to set those wrong values. So if I run this program, it will go to the set size method. So what does the set size here says, and it will pass this 0 here. So now if you look at the syntax of this method, you'll see something like void public void set size, and you're also passing a variable called s. This is called as a local variable, and you have written some statements here. So now you're calling this method by saying c1.offset size, and you are passing the value here 0. So 0 goes to this s. Now here in this s, what we were doing, if the s is less than 0 or equals to 0, yes, so it will call this if block. So it will say don't set the wrong size for my cat, and I'll set the default value is equals to size is equals to 10. Now here similarly I'm saying set age, so that calls the set age method of this class, which is this one, and it passed the value of -1 to this a local variable. So here we are seeing, is a less than equals to 0? What is the value of a? A is -1. Is -1 less than equals to 0? Yes, -1 is less than 0. So it will say don't set the wrong age for my cat, and it will set its the default value of 14 here. Now the next line says c1.of_meow. So what is meow doing? Meow is displaying the name of my cat, age of my cat, and size of my cat. So name of my cat will be Tina. The age of my cat will be, because we are trying to set a wrong value, I have set the value to 14. And size of my cat, I am setting it to something called as whatever the value. If it's a wrong value, I'm setting it to 10. So let's go ahead and execute this program and let's see what happens. So now in this case, you're getting these errors. Don't set the wrong size for my cat. Don't set the wrong age for my cat. And the name of the cat is Tina, age is 14, size is 10. So you were able to set the correct values. Now if somebody is trying to set 10, that's the size, that's completely okay for me. Or somebody is trying to set the size of, let's say, 9, that's completely fine because that's a valid size. So if I go ahead and run the program, the size will be, the new value of the size will be, for my cat will be 9. So now it'll go ahead and say size of the cat is 9. So this is the purpose of these access modifiers. So this is also called as a concept of encapsulation. According to the concept of encapsulation, you make your instance variables private and the methods to access them, make them as public. So now in the shortcut to do that, you can always go ahead and right click on this page and you can say source, generate getters and setters. So you can set the getters and setters for this name. So we have not created the getters and setters. Getters is just like to retrieve the value. So here it has created a getter and a setter. Now what is this for? What is this operator? So this operator here, guys, is basically, see, you have two names in this program. One is this name and this is an instance variable. This is an instance variable and this is basically the name, local variable name. To avoid the confusion, see, assignment happens from right to left. So whatever is in this name, it will go to this name. But these two names are different names. One is the instance variable name and the other one is local variable. To tell the computer or the Java that, okay, which variable is which one, this is used to refer to the instance variable. And anything without the this operator, this is basically, we're talking about the local variable. So this.name refers to the name this one. And this particular name on the right hand side refers to this one. So to avoid the confusion, they have used this to represent the instance variable. So I hope you understood this part. I'll see you in the next tutorial and please go ahead and do the same exercise. Thank you so much.